Siomra Beag.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Siomra Beag, the tiny room. I am the Michael of Michaelandbenjaminspodcast, and I am joined by the man who won his first name in a trial by combat with the actor formerly known as Benjamin Bratt, but now known as Jonathan Bratt. It's Benjamin.
He was a little bitch. I got him.
Yeah,
I got him.
It was either that, Ben, or I was going to say I'm joined by the man who is he is to podcasting what a milkshake is to a fascist. It's an
unnecessary luxury that should be stripped away as a punishment and a means of showing that there's a new regime in town.
Very good. No, I meant about the throwing the milkshakes on the fascists.
The piece of news that happened this week.
News. Anyway, Ben, look, we've put up some audio padding and it seems to be working.
Seems to be doing a right old job. There should be less echo this time, ladies and gentlemen. Should be.
A lot of action figures.
The action figures disagreed.
Took a tumble off the shelf there. Anyway, Ben, would you like to take this opportunity to insert some theme music?
Theme music for the podcast. We don't actually have any theme music, but I hope someone will make some up for us. I don't wanna name any names. Rachel, I hope it's Rachel.
Very good, excellent. Benjamin, it turns out that in the world of Hollywood, you're not the only bad egg.
No, there's quite a few.
Yes, but specifically this week there was one.
The manager one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's there. It's in your notes.
Yeah,
it's the first thing you've
I didn't
written
know
down.
we were doing it first. Don't you take that tone with me.
I will take that tone.
In this echoless room.
It's so echoless in here now.
There's a lot more severity to insults when they're very depth and bass heavy.
I will. I'll take whatever tone I please.
I suppose it is your tiny room. Your Tony room. Sorry. Anyway, Stanley's ex-manager was arrested for elder abuse. For elder abuse this week. He was accused and investigated last week, and now it turns out he was a real bad egg. Sure he was. He was selling vials of Stanley's blood to sign. It was fucked.
Was he?
Yeah, he was doing all kinds of weird shit.
Selling vials, he was 90-something. He needed his blood.
Yeah, he was signing things in Stanley's blood.
He needed his blood though, Ben.
Fucking weird.
Is that how he died? Blood lack?
Blood lack is a classic fatal affliction. No, I was looking into it though, but some of the things he did towards the end of his career, he lent his voice to a very strange series of cartoons produced by
The Office thing.
Russians. It was called Bad Days, and it was just a weird superhero comedy.
Never seen it.
Shitty animation, and he would give his voice every once in a while. So obviously the manager was coming in, getting him to record something into a phone quickly, sending that off, charging the Russian company a hefty sum.
It's about time someone scammed Russia though, rather than the other way around.
Yeah, they seem to be doing a lot of maybe it was comeuppance.
Yeah, take that, Russia.
That's the end of us now.
We're going to get hacked.
That's the end of us now.
That was Ben. Ben does a very good imitation of me. Ben's personal email is ben.
Oh, I thought you were actually going to do it there for a second. That would have hurt. Anyway, yeah, so he's been arrested. Fucking bad egg.
Yeah, get rid of him.
Yeah, get rid of him.
Who's he managing now? Who are the other old vulnerable people?
Imagine the lads in prison, managing to keep them away, hopefully.
He won't go to the same type of prison as...
No, he's going to a nice white-collar prison. He plays tennis at the weekends.
Tennis prison.
Yeah. Ten-priz.
Ben, speaking of taking advantage of old people, Terminator Dark Fate has his first trailer this weekend.
That was fucking excellent.
I'm getting better at the
that was fucking brilliant. I love that.
Did you see Arnold Schwarzenegger got kicked in the back?
Yeah, that was ridiculous. Took it well for an older man.
Well, he's still, I know he's 72 or something, but he's still a gigantic man.
Yeah, he's still a gigantic man.
And the guy who drop kicked him
fell.
It was a little weedy guy.
Yeah.
Also, the drop kick, Ben, is not the most powerful of attacks.
You're kind of just turning your body into an upended torpedo. Basically,
yeah. You kind of flap at him with your feet. You want to really keep a point of contact on the ground if you want to hurt someone.
Yeah. I think the dickbag was just trying to get famous.
Or mental.
Or mental. You could take your pick.
He's probably mental.
Probably a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
It's a shame Schwarzenegger didn't say, "Oh, you son of a bitch!"
Yeah, and then terminate him. It would have been great.
Why did you kick me in the... He's kind of lost his accent now, so it's...
It's a little bit cleaner than it used to be. Yeah. Go, get to the chopper, go. It's not that anymore. No. We don't have that anymore.
Anyway, what are we talking about? Dark Fate.
Dark Fate looks interesting.
It has Gabriel Luna, who was from your favourite show, The Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I think that's completely untrue, and I think any listener that's been with us for a while knows that that's just a fabrication.
Everyone loves The Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Ben. It's great. He was the Ghost Rider.
Gabriel Luna's a tool. And his Ghost Rider's awful.
Oh,
anyway,
that seems unusually personal.
That, Linda Hamilton. Look, he stole my milkshake when I was in school, when I was younger.
You didn't go to school, Gabriel Luna, in Los Angeles.
Yes, I did. He used to come in a little trike on fire. He used to wheel his way in a little three-wheeler.
But he
was
was
melted and plasticky.
See, Ben, I know that's not true because he wasn't the Ghost Rider until he was about 28 by the looks.
See, that's what you think, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is so backwards in how it does things that he
got
might
the
have
continuity
been.
wrong.
Might have been. He might have been.
Ben, he's a Terminator, but he's two Terminators.
He's the classic, the revolutionary sci-fi Terminator from Terminator 2. He's all melty and bendy and flexy and, you know, all those things.
But he's also the Metal Skeleton Terminator.
Classic Terminator.
He's two Terminators at the same time, Ben.
And he comes in matte black.
What a twist.
What a twist.
Matt Black, our friend.
Matt Black, not our friend.
That's an unfortunate name.
Matt Black.
Yeah.
I think it's a great name.
Can't take him to a paint shop.
Matt Black. Well, which one do you want?
Sorry, I'm just looking for Matt Black. He's just over there.
He's just a
Matt
Black who owns a paint shop. Oh, I hope so. But look, what are we going to say about this?
Matt!
Michael, what can we say about this? Not Matt Black. What can we say about Terminator Dark Fate? Jimmy C is back on it.
Jimmy C.
Taking another break
not.
from... He's producing.
He's producing. That means nothing.
Taking another break from Avatar 2.
Yeah, whenever that's coming out.
That's never coming out. Taking another break from that. Tim Miller of Deadpool fame is directing.
He's quite good so far.
He's good. Love, Death and Robots. Great series. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see.
Linda Hamilton, not
looking badass.
Do you think? You see, I don't know. I've been soured on Linda Hamilton.
Why?
Did you watch the TV series Chuck?
Yeah, where she was the mum.
She was Sarah Connor essentially.
Yeah.
She's not great, Linda Hamilton.
No, she's famous for playing a badass
single
female character.
And I don't know if that's going to carry across well to her 60s.
Probably not.
No.
Who is the actress playing the new hybrid Terminator?
She was, I can't remember her name, Mackenzie.
The face reminded me, but I couldn't think of the name.
Mackenzie something. She was the prostitute in the film Blade Runner 2049.
That's who it was. Thank you.
You're all right.
Thank you.
Is it Mackenzie? You spin your wheels there.
I'm going to spin my wheels. Look, it's a classic. We've got to keep you alive. It's keep you uppy.
Do you think...
with the Terminator in the middle.
Do you think, like every Terminator film, they've revealed the main twist in the trailer?
What, where Arnie comes back?
Could be that. Could be that
she's living in a cabin for some reason.
Could be that she's part human, part Terminator.
She definitely is.
The main twist could even be that Gabriel Luna is two Terminators. That could be the main twist.
Two different Terminators.
And we're supposed to be surprised by it.
Whoa!
But they've revealed it in the trailer.
Yeah. Well, look... It's just a money spinner. I don't know who still watches Terminator movies. I don't know why Terminator movies are still going.
Because they make money. Mackenzie Davis.
Okay, thank you. Very good. Very, very well played there. Very well played.
Canadian actor. Best known for playing. I'm just reading Blade. Welcome to Reading Blade Runner with Michael and Ben. Reading Wikipedia. Best known for The Martian. Is she in The Martian? Blade Runner 2049. That Awkward Moment.
Oh, I know that awkward moment quite well.
And a Canadian Screen Award nomination.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah.
Good for her.
She's your kind of very modern, sexy, androgynous lady.
Yeah, she is very sexy.
And very androgynous.
Yeah. Speaking of androgyny, something we forgot to put on the running order, bloody Batwoman's getting her own CW series.
Well, we knew that, but the first trailer was released. Very feminist.
Painfully. Approaching... I never thought I would say this.
No, I did.
But Captain Marvel, in contrast to the new Batwoman trailer, is very understated in its message.
Its message, yeah. I can't trust no man to do this.
I'm not...
Can't have people think I'm a man. That's why I'm going to give myself some boob armor and some fancy red hair.
My favourite thing about the trailer was the line... I'm not letting a man take credit for my work, as she breaks into Batman's Batcave and acquires all of his tech, his reputation.
She didn't invent it.
And his skill set.
Son of a bitch.
But no, I'm not letting any man take credit for my work. From a fighting point of view, I watched an interesting breakdown where She doesn't employ any of the usual lady moves with her legs in the trailer, or any acrobatic spinning, or any judo. She just hits things.
Yeah, I like that.
With her fists and a terrible boxer stance, apparently.
Oh, well, look, that's nothing to do with women. The vast
No, I didn't. I meant from a trailer. It wasn't a leveled criticism of women in this.
The vast majority of like mainstream Hollywood actors look ridiculous throwing punches. The exception, I would say, I think the best actor on TV at the moment, the most convincing looking person who can do a martial arts is Katie Lawless
from
White Canary from Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow.
Wasn't expecting that.
She can throw a good shape.
Wasn't expecting that.
What's his name isn't bad either. The guy who plays Arrow,
Stephen Amell.
John Arrow. Stephen Amell is pretty good too.
John Arrow, classic.
What's his name? He's John Arrow.
Yeah, but she's getting her own, and it's a world without Batman. Which is fun because they just won't pull the trigger on Batman. We've had Superman
just do a Batman
in
series.
a CW.
Just do a Batman series.
They did do a Batman series. It was called Arrow Season 1.
Oh, very good. I saw a top 10 article, which I hate, but I saw one that said, now that Arrow is finishing in season 10, the top 10 Green Arrow stories that we'll never get to see. And it should have just been the top 10 Batman stories that we'll never get to see.
Because that's what they did.
But with John Arrow instead of Batman.
John Arrow.
Yeah.
John Arrow is actually a pretty great 1950s detective name.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? John Arrow.
Excuse me, Mr. Arrow, can you help me?
Ben, speaking of kind of sexy androgynous people, Picard has a new series coming out. It's Jean-Luc Picard. He's quite sexy and androgynous. Isn't he? Or is he manly? I don't know.
He's definitely not androgynous. You can kind of spot.
Pretty androgynous.
Very weird trailer.
It's set on a vineyard, or vineyard, as you say. But it's set on a vineyard. You do say that, I've heard you. It's set on a vineyard, Ben.
Hold on.
But it has a lot of lens flare.
You settle yourself. Go back.
Yeah, go on.
What kind of pleb do you think I am going around saying vineyard?
Vineyard, yes.
Get out of here.
There's these flying vehicles on the vineyard.
What a bad egg.
Let me talk about Picard.
The only thing worse than you is Stanley's ex-manager.
Oh, that's mean. Ben, it's set on a vineyard or vineyard, and he's making a wine, Picard Company wine, which is what he wanted to do in his retirement.
Fair.
If you saw the original series, it's weird because it's set on a vineyard and nothing happens in it, and he's being interviewed by, you think, Gina Torres?
I think it's Gina Torres. I think that's voice of noted sci-fi darling Gina Torres.
I mean, we could easily find out, but we're not going to.
We're just going to. We're going to speculate.
Going to set up a Ben's retraction for next week.
Yeah.
The interesting thing, Ben, was it was shot in the kind of J.J. Abrams way.
There's
a ton of lens. Lots of lens flare, a bit of soft focus. I was expecting the Beastie Boys to pop in at any minute.
That would have been cool.
Don't you tell me to stop. I'm working
on
the vineyard.
I saw that Star Trek.
The Star Trek, the
Beyond,
film Star Trek.
What was it? Beyond Infinity?
Star Trek. It was called Star Trek.
It was just called Star Trek.
Wasn't
I never
it?
saw that.
Was it?
I think it was something Beyond something.
Was it called Star Trek? No, I think
something
it was
like
Star
that.
Trek.
Anyway,
it's quite
the
good.
thing that took me out of it.
I'd see it if I were you.
I'll go check it out when I go home. Great podcasting. The thing that took me out of it was the weird robot thing. Looking at they seem to put so much effort into the analog. There's a harvesting robot that sprays the
what's wrong with that?
It was just interesting that they put so much effort into the analog crates and like the traditional wine straw that they were putting the bottles in and stuff. And then all of a sudden it's just a weird harvesting robot thing. They put so much effort into him walking in his leather boots.
Yeah.
His riding boots.
I think I was all right with that.
His analog rustic look.
I kind of like that, Ben. There's something about that aesthetic of the old world farminess. With it was, if you remember back, Ben, as you said earlier, Love and Robots.
Yes.
Love, Death and Robots. One of the better ones had that aesthetic of farming, everything kind of hick farming, but then modern robots.
It's true.
What was that called?
That was...
I want to call it The Horde, but it wasn't called The Horde.
It could have been, though. That would have been an apt name. I can't remember what it was called.
I'm excited about it, Ben. I've been kind of catching up on Discovery Season 2.
Can I be honest?
You can, Ben.
Who originally did Star Trek? Who was the original distributor of Star Trek? Is it Fox?
Paramount?
Was it Paramount? How did Amazon get their hands on it?
Money, Ben.
Oh, money.
Yeah, big load of money. They give them a big load of money.
Money. Oh.
Is
Amazon much better than Netflix now?
I don't know, Ben.
when it comes to their
I love
original
them all
content
legally.
and licensing.
I don't know. This is the era we're entering. We're entering the battle of the streaming services.
Look, it's just cable with extra steps.
Well, it's the battle of the streaming services. You get your Amazon, your Hulu, your Disney.
Amazon's going to win.
You think
Well,
Amazon's gonna win?
Disney and Amazon
Disney's
are going to be the
pretty
last two
big. Disney's
standing.
pretty big.
Netflix is going to go.
Netflix, they have Jessica Jones season 3 coming up, Ben.
Does that even fucking matter?
Well, they've got Jessica Jones in it. She's going to be drinking. She'll probably punch a man.
And she probably won't laud it over everybody.
Hey!
Probably not.
Yeah, but Jessica Jones is kind of the last remaining flawed female character.
Yeah, she's the last woman standing.
Yeah. You're not
Last
allowed-
real woman standing.
Yeah. Do you have any other flawed female character? You probably do in like your detective series and stuff, but not.
No, in regular television, I'm sure there's plenty, but in superheroes,
they're all
don't think
exemplars.
so.
Although there aren't that many flawed male heroes either, so maybe we should stop our caterwauling.
yeah, to be fair, I don't think
Spider-Man, he's always whinging about something.
he's always having a whinge. Thor is pretty much
Thor's
a poster
fat now,
child for
yeah.
depression.
Yeah. Peter Quill.
Peter Quill, just
sandwiches.
bad egg.
Yeah,
Not-
isn't he an
Peter
idiot?
Quill's a needy little bitch.
They've really flanderized him.
They fucked him.
He was really quite competent in Guardians of the Galaxy 1. He was a bit of a dope.
Yeah, but he was good at what he did.
Yeah.
That's why he was successful. And then it was weird to see him just get...
One punch
So
by War
Avengers, War Machine just took him out.
Machine. Yeah, one punch in the head. Probably enough to kill him.
Yeah, because
With that
War
War Machine
Machine's a
suit on.
bloody mech.
Yeah. Anyway, what are we talking about?
Picard,
it'll be good.
Yeah.
Ben, speaking of things that we are... Oh, I haven't got a good segue for this.
That's a shame.
Game of Thrones is over. People didn't like it. They were all giving out. Speaking of people whining about things, yes.
Yes. And he brings it back.
The internet's full of
Yeah, look, the cast had an old bitch. They were like, people don't support us anymore. So the fans got together, put a petition together. They've raised $25,000 for Emilia Clarke's charity, which helps people who suffer from strokes and
Oh, that's nice.
mental illness and stuff, just to show that it wasn't the actors they had an issue with, which I thought was quite nice.
That was quite nice.
This is all being done through the Reddit Free Folk, which is the dedicated Game of Thrones subreddit, and they kind of lead a lot of these charges. The original petition to have...
Reddit is a hive of scum and villainy, isn't it?
It really is the George Lucas of internet. Yeah. Look, it was just bad. It's exactly as you said, where it was a great and interesting and new TV show, and then it just became a TV show.
Yeah.
And people weren't able to handle it, and it turns out the two guys that did all the writing really needed George R. R. Martin and all his source material, and as soon as they didn't have it anymore, they fucked it.
I am not sure that's necessarily true. I don't think it ever could have ended satisfactorily.
They could have done a little bit better than the way they did it.
They could have been, undoubtedly, but almost everything could have been done a little bit better in hindsight. I actually thought it was quite good.
Except for Michael and Benjamin's podcast,
Yeah.
which is prime podcasting.
Yeah. Except some of the times.
So what did you think of it? Are we doing full spoilers?
I thought,
full spoilers.
Yeah,
It's a week late.
I mean, everyone's seen
Full
it.
spoilers.
I thought it was quite good, actually. I liked when Daenerys was... I know. We're doing that next. I liked when Daenerys was at the... Stop it! I liked when Daenerys was at the walls of the city, standing on the steps, and she had her horde of savage rapists and head-to-toe black-armoured, emotionless, evil guys, and her dragon on the wall.
And you kind of realised all of a sudden...
Banner, and I was like... How did no one notice she was the baddie?
Yeah, my favourite thing about that was someone pointed out that there were like a crew of Unsullied or Dothraki that had to put that banner together.
Yeah.
Which is a very entertaining thought.
Yeah.
Look, she was a bad egg.
She was clearly
in
the baddie.
end, and that's okay.
Yeah. I think a lot of it, Ben, is like, okay, fair enough. I saw a great little meme of one of those mazes, a picture of a maze.
Yeah.
And it's very complicated, and it's like season 1 and season 2, season 3, season 4, season 5, season 6. And then when it reaches season 8, someone just draws a line across the maze to the end.
Yeah.
Very clever.
It's
very apt.
Very apt.
I agree that that's true.
Yeah, they fucked it.
But I think the ending was fine, though. I think that was still the right ending.
I think probably what annoyed a lot of people was that they abandoned so many of the Chekhov guns that they had set up throughout the series.
That happens in series, Ben.
I'm not defending. I'm saying that's what other people do. We have never had an investment in Game of Thrones on this podcast.
That's true.
This is the most we've ever talked about Game of Thrones.
But that happens in every series.
Yeah.
You have to seed lots and lots of seedlings for some of them to sprout.
Yeah.
And if all of them sprout, Ben, your forest will become choked.
One of my favourite memes that has come out as a result of this is...
We're going with memes.
Yeah, why not? The moment you realise that Bucky killed more Starks than the Night King. And it's just that famous clip from Winter Soldier where he's staring up at the CCTV camera.
Yeah, he definitely did.
Yeah. Night King was a damn squib.
He was. He
could never have been anything more than that, to be fair. Because he was never given any voice or anything like that. He was just a big, ominous...
Yeah, he was no Thanos. He's been compared to Thanos a lot, but he was no Thanos.
Why was he compared to Thanos?
Because they were the big villains of 2019.
But I can think of nothing less equal to Thanos than the Night King.
Two big decade-long series both ended in 2019. Although the Marvel Cinematic Universe is in no way ended. They've
far superior
hoodwinked us all.
Far superior to Game of Thrones in several ways.
What was I saying there before that?
Especially when it comes to villains.
Before it was the thing. Oh, I read a great fan ending theory from a couple of years ago that said that the Night King would launch a diversionary attack on Winterfell and they'd win, and then he would attack King's Landing and zombify King's Landing, and Cersei would be the Night Queen.
That'd be good.
And then Daenerys would have had to kill her. But I liked Daenerys turning evil and Jon having to kill her instead.
I remember one of my favourite ones that was Jon was going to be the new Night King. There has to be a Night King and Jon was going to take over. Yeah, that would have been interesting. And he would have been king in the north then. The prophecy would have come true.
I like that kind of someone has to step into the baddie's role ending.
That's
quite common.
It's a good one though.
It's a bit of a trope,
but it's a great one. Nothing wrong with the trope if it's a good one.
Ben, speaking of good tropes, where are we? What are we doing?
I don't know.
We've had a listener's tweet. Listener's tweet. We've had a tweet, Ben. Do you want to read the tweet there? I noticed you don't have your phone, so you can just pretend that you're reading the tweet.
Good lady friend of the podcast, an all-round glop.
Yeah.
Rachel has written in to Michael and Benjamin's podcast and has said, on behalf of her good male friend, her good man friend,
who shall remain nameless,
gentlemanly friend, because we've never said his name on the podcast, and we will continue not to say it on the podcast. Oh no, it's disappeared. Because it's in the podcast friends group. Has there ever been a good Godzilla film? In short, no. But let's take a look.
In short, no.
But let's take a look. Because
I think you've wasted an opportunity for a very good bit there, Ben. You could have asked the question and we could have just said no and then pretended to move on.
That's almost as good as explaining what would have been a good bit.
Well, I feel that I've kind of rescued that bit there a little bit.
Anyway, Godzilla's an odd one.
Godzilla 1999 is great. It's got
It's a lie.
It's got the theme from P. Diddy over Kashmir. Yeah, exactly. That's close enough. Yeah, I think you might be putting an extra beat in. No, that's nothing now. It has Matthew Broderick in it.
Oh, noted bad egg and murderer of Northern Irish people.
Yeah.
Matthew Broderick got away with a $600 fine. What a dick.
No good. It has Jean Reno in it.
Noted nobody these days.
It has
Jean Reno.
It has Hank Azaria from The Simpsons.
Noted Simpsons voice actor Hank Azaria.
It has. Does it have a lady in it?
It had a blonde lady in it, but she faded to obscurity
hair,
almost immediately.
She was a lesbian, wasn't she? Wasn't she Portia de Rossi's girlfriend before Ellen stole her? I'm looking that up.
Right? We're going to get hacked by Russia and Ellen. Yeah, look,
Anne Hesh?
It could have been, I don't know. You're asking the wrong guy. Anyway, Godzilla is such an interesting cultural phenomenon, and the first Godzilla movie came out in 1954 in Japan, and by no means is Godzilla the first kind of kaiju, kaiju being the Japanese word for monsters in this particular case. There were many more before that, and they were largely inspired by the King Kongs of the world, and the Ray Harryhausen flicks at the time. In fact, when they were coming up with Godzilla, he was originally going to be stop motion.
Maria Patillo.
But that would have taken too much time. We're ignoring you now. That would have taken too much time to do, so they came up with this big suit, which the stuntman could only wear for 3 minutes at a time due to the heavy 220-pound nature of it. Wow. That he would have to haul around and die of heat in.
Suit making has come a long way.
Suit making has come a long way.
Our friend Brian could probably make a better suit than that.
Almost definitely.
Although he has 70 years of technological advancement to help him.
Still, almost definitely.
Definitely.
I think what's most interesting about Godzilla when he came out is he's very much a cautionary tale of what happens Very good. Of what happens when man messes with nature. It was very much a Japanese reaction to basically being absolutely obliterated as a result of World War II.
Yeah, it's the nuclear bomb fear. Big giant.
And he just
cities.
embodied that in a massive way. Rather interestingly, that America, when they adapted that Godzilla franchise and dubbed it, calling it
Godzilla.
Godzilla King of Monsters. That's where the King of Monsters thing came in. Exactly. In 1956, they removed the nuclear peril element of it. They shoved a white actor in as a reporter because you need one of them, and they removed an arranged marriage subplot.
No.
It's a fascinating character. When they were originally designing him, they designed him with a big mushroom clown head. Yeah, it was like
no good.
Too on the nose. They got rid of it, and they came up with the lizard that we all know and love today.
Godzilla is to Japanese culture. Godzilla is to Japanese culture and the atomic bomb what the spate of American cities being destroyed films were to America and 9/11.
Yeah, Independence Day and stuff like that.
Oh, Independence Day predates 9/11 though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Does it?
Day After Tomorrow, it does, yeah, 1998.
Was Independence Day?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Day After Tomorrow.
Those Man of Steel, Superman, Man of Steel.
Man of Steel.
Any of your kind of American cities being destroyed fetish films.
Bad film.
Man of Steel?
Man of Steel was terrible.
Oh, it's alright.
Get out of here.
It's alright.
Get out of here.
It's not the worst.
You Jesus Christ Superman loving son of a gun. No, I mean, there have been several incarnations and he's grown. There's been a mountain of films.
Yeah, loads of them.
I think it's up to 24. I think there have been 24 Godzilla films.
Yeah, they're mass-produced schlocky B movies.
Yeah, and that's why people love them, because they love the strange dubbing and stuff like that. They've introduced us to wonderful characters. And by the way, I'm assuming this question was prompted in response to the new trailer starring Millie Bobby Brown to Godzilla 2, King of Monsters. Is that what it's called?
I'd say so, yeah. That makes sense. I quite liked the last Godzilla.
I didn't see it.
I thought the only thing that upset me about it was there wasn't enough Godzilla, which I think is a good complaint to have.
Yeah, that's a fair complaint.
That means they've used him reasonably well.
Yeah.
And that they pretended like Bryan Cranston was the star because Bryan Cranston was hot right then.
He was so hot right then.
Yeah, but then he dies in the first 20 minutes.
And that was a real disappointment for everyone.
It was, and then it was about Aaron Johnson and what's her name?
Who's no good.
His sister.
Aaron Johnson's real toolbag.
What's his sister's name?
I don't know.
Scarlett Johansson. No.
Scarlet Witch.
She's like the twins, but she's bigger. She's bigger.
Olsen.
Yes, Elizabeth Olsen. Thanks.
Elizabeth Olsen.
They're a husband and wife in that.
Who would have thought that Elizabeth Olsen would be the breakthrough Olsen star at the end of the day?
Amazing. She is easily the most attractive, though.
Easily.
Yeah.
She has aged like fine wine.
And the best at acting.
Yes, very good. Very good actress. Yeah, so that was the thing. And now we're going to get the new one because Millie Bobby Brown is so hot right now.
She's so hot right now.
Doing
she's the Bryan Cranston of 2019.
She can only do 11 face. That's all she's got in her acting repertoire. Very irritating Twitter presence. She is a teenage girl.
Stop following teenage girls on Twitter, Ben.
But she's just very...
probably take a lot of stress out of your life.
It's going to be... Yeah, probably. But yeah, the answer to your question, friend of the podcast, not really. It has introduced huge cultural elements. Like we got Mothra, we got Rodan, who is the big winged thing that we're probably seeing in Godzilla 2. And it gave us the one who's most famous, Ghidorah, which is the 3-headed dragon thingy. Mechagodzilla is also there. I doubt we're going to see Mechagodzilla. That's probably Godzilla 3. We're going to get
We saw Mechagodzilla famously in the most recent what was that called? Ready Player One.
We did. Mechagodzilla made an appearance. But to fully answer this question, no. A lot of them are kitsch, schlocky,
I like the
B movies. That was probably the best of them that we've had, but anything prior to that is purely enjoyed by people who ironically enjoy things.
Or the Japanese.
Who unironically enjoy a lot of things. But a lot of the original message of those movies has been taken away in favour of schlocky B-movie tropes.
Ben, speaking of schlocky B movies, we were looking forward to seeing the film Brightburn this weekend.
Yes, we were.
But guess what happened?
What happened, Michael?
It's not coming out here.
Sons of bitches.
I have been harassing their Twitter account and their Instagram account.
Because you're a good egg.
Well, it's because I have a lot of free time. I've been harassing them.
Categorically untrue.
It is untrue.
Actually, it's
I've been harassing them, Ben, because they've done that very famous American thing where they'll put up a post saying Brightburn is in theaters everywhere now, And then I'll say, no, it isn't. Let's
Lies.
throw back, Ben, to 2 years ago when Ant-Man and the Wasp wasn't in theaters, and
Because the World fucking Cup.
the World Cup. It wasn't the World fucking Cup, Ben.
Oh no, that was what I was doing at that time. Sorry.
You didn't even qualify.
Competing for Ireland.
Last 16.
Golden Hole.
What are we doing? Brightburn. Brightburn's not coming out.
You're just going to brush over my amazing Golden Hole joke?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's not out here, so we haven't seen it.
Fair enough.
And it's about evil Superman.
It's about evil Superman. Look, there's nothing great about that concept. Jamie G was rocking up. Jamie G came along. James Gunn, for anyone that doesn't know who Jamie G is. Mm-hmm. He's producing it. His brothers wrote it and directed it. Obviously, he has the money in the backing to do it, so he gave it to them. I was fascinated that DC hasn't had an issue with it, but according to him, they really haven't.
I mean,
he's been given the okay. He's gotten no blowback from it. They do need him to finish Suicide Squad, so maybe they can't rock that boat too much.
do you want to very quickly for us, Ben, tell us what Brightburn is about?
Brightburn follows the classic story of Superman, where a couple who want a child are driving through somewhere. An old meteor filled with a ship full of an alien space guy lands somewhere. They go pick it up, and they raise it as their own. Now, what sets this one apart is very clear horror tones, very clear tension tones from the start. The woman is clearly unhinged based on the thing. And the dad, like most dads, I would imagine, is kind of like, fuck no, put that thing back in the rocket. Let's not do that.
Like your dad.
Yeah.
Who I met last week.
Yeah, who you met last week.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my mother won that argument and I got to come home from the spaceship.
But the real thing that separates this, Ben, is in this case that the Superman analog, he's a real prick.
He's a real prick. He's an alien species that seems to be hell-bent on dominating the world.
Oh, you think?
As opposed to... I'm hazarding a guess that he's a world dominator.
You think so? I don't think he is.
Oh, what
I
do you think
he is? I just think he's a prick. I think he gets... Like, he doesn't have as nice an upbringing as Clark Kent, and he acts out.
Oh, okay.
It's not... I don't... Ben, obviously we haven't seen it because it's not out here.
It's not fucking out here.
Assholes. But I don't think it's a treatise on what would happen if Superman was a bad
egg?
Not a bad egg, a bad seed. I don't think it's intrinsically saying Superman was good or bad. It's if Superman had a rougher upbringing.
Do you think it's a critique of the American way of might makes right?
No, I think it's a psychological study of nature versus nurture.
I don't think it's going to be very good.
Probably not. We might be overanalyzing
fundamentally,
it.
I think we're probably overreading this massively. I think it's going to suffer from a classic case of overpowered. I'm assuming he has his own form of kryptonite somewhere.
Isn't that the horror of it, Ben?
Yeah, but the kid irritated me from the time that I saw him in the trailer. He's got that real weird face. The mask is cool. He's got that real weird face that makes me uncomfortable.
He's got that real weird...
Anemia face. He's got anemia face.
What's wrong with anemia face? A lot of people have anemia, Ben.
It makes me uncomfortable.
They have a low iron blood count.
Anyway, the mask is kind of cool, but it's very James Gunny.
The mask is...
It's very on the nose.
The mask is a bit cosmic horror-y, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a bit Cthulhu-y.
Yeah, it's a bit Cthulhu.
What is it? Sorry?
Cthulhu.
So it's Cthulhu.
Cthulhu. Ben... It's interesting what you've said there recently. I mean, relatively speaking, interesting. That DC didn't have a problem.
Good dick.
That DC didn't have a problem with them doing a Superman pastiche.
Like I said, I'm assuming they don't want to fuck up another Suicide Squad. And they're like, no problem, James.
You do what you want. You do what you want. You work away.
But I would... it's just a very clear rip-off. There's no harm. It follows the same color grading as Man of Steel. Mm-hmm. It's mimicking quite a few scenes from Man of Steel. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have to remember, though, Ben, that pastiche is very much protected by copyright laws in America.
Well, that'll change eventually.
When Disney
rocks up.
When the big Disney, Amazon, Netflix conglomerate finally takes over.
Yeah. Then that'll be the end of pastiches. And
you don't see a lot of pastiches of Mickey Mouse.
No, you can't. You don't see a single goddamn one.
It's very rare to see a pastiche of Mickey Mouse, Ben. But on the other hand, you see many pastiches of Superman.
Yeah, but you don't fuck with Disney.
No. I was kind of setting you up there to lead into the topic, but...
Unless you're in the World fucking Cup. Then you have to fuck with Mickey Mouse. It's the round 3 playoff.
Oh, Ben, stop.
Sorry, when I stomped all over Michael's lovely bit is you do see many knockoffs of Superman.
Very good.
Which is this week's topic. We're going to be taking a look at all the times that various comic companies have just been like, fuck it, let's make a Superman.
Ben, not all the times. There are too many times.
A few of the times
Yes.
a lot of companies said, fuck it, let's make a Superman. And there's been quite a few. So it's kind of hard to see comics the way they are without Superman in them today. He is the Mac Daddy of the big superhero world. He is the Mickey Mouse.
The OG, isn't he?
He's
Ben?
the Mickey Mouse to family movies that he is to superheroes what Mickey Mouse is to family entertainment. He's just the mascot for them. He's just the original gangster.
He's
OG,
the prototype, yeah.
The paragon of what it is to be a superhero.
He's the platonic ideal.
Sure, he came out in the 30s. It was a whole thing.
It was very difficult to come out back then.
Very difficult.
Very conservative.
Not what you would call a supportive society.
No.
No allies there, my friend. No allies there.
Except the allies of World War.
Except the allies of World War One.
Yeah.
But like,
and two.
we can't.
Where are we going? What are we doing? Come on.
Anyway,
back on
sorry.
topic.
Yeah. He's the original superhero set as well. Superpower set: flying, invulnerability, bulletproof.
Do you want to do a thing there, Ben, about how he didn't always have those powers?
Superhero. Yeah, so that developed over time. Originally, he could leap tall buildings in a single bound, but that didn't necessarily mean he could fly. However, that's kind of a stupid superpower if you think of a guy just hopping up and down a city.
That's what Hulk does.
Yeah, Hulk is a different thing, though. He creates absolute chaos. Can you imagine if Superman was just bouncing on top of buildings with his mass and durability?
I think he was quite light-footed. Like he could land without wrecking a shop.
He'd have an old tiptoed through the city.
Yeah.
He was faster than a speeding bullet.
Not that fast, really. It's pretty
fast.
fast.
At the time, as
fast.
powerful as a locomotive. Not that powerful by today's standards. But what was interesting was Superman kind of had every power back in the day. Basically, whatever the story called for, he could do. One of the famous ones is Lois Lane needs a blood transfusion, and magically, my blood conforms to all types. And he could do that. He had mild telepathy if
Super
he needed
genius.
it. He was super smart when he needed it. This is also something that Grant Morrison parodied in his famous All-Star Superman run, which is very good.
But then eventually, Ben, they settled on kind of the
set.
Standard power set.
Default set.
Go on, tell us.
And the default set is invulnerability.
Yeah.
Bit of flying. Couple of super senses.
Yeah.
Laser vision.
Of some sort.
Arctic breath.
Of some sort.
And just being an all-round good egg.
Did you say super speed?
I didn't actually. Super speed.
Super speed, invulnerability, flying, some sort of laser.
Yeah.
And some sort of other thing.
Yeah. And those were the ones that were largely parodied and mimicked across the way as we went along through the years. And any time we come across a character that has a similar set, it's almost certainly a pastiche of a Superman.
There, in my reading of the situation, Ben, there are two kind of distinct reasons that people do this.
Yeah.
That people pastiche a Superman. One is they're creating a new superhero universe. And when you create a new superhero universe, the easiest kind of original, most powerful big gun superhero to make in your new universe
OG almost.
is to do a Superman.
Yeah.
And the other reason is to have your heroes fight a Superman.
Yeah, because he's the big bad.
Yeah, because you're like, we want to test our superheroes against the iconic, archetypical Superman.
Yeah.
So that's what we'll bloody do. We'll make up a Superman.
Yeah. It's pretty simple stuff.
Yeah.
It's a good way of doing it. A perfect example of that would be Omni-Man from Invincible.
I pronounce it Omni-Man.
Why?
Like the Omniplex in North Dublin.
No, I see what's happened here. You're applying Hiberno English language patterns.
Omni-Man.
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 Oh, come here, Omni-Man.
Come here,
save us.
Omni-Man. Would you stop bleeding, killing all those Guardians of the Universe?
You bleeding dope.
Dope. Omni-Man, you're a fucking idiot.
Do you know what? You're a prick, Omni-Man. Anyway... Omni-Man is Invincible's daddy.
In the comic book Invincible.
This
is the longest stretch we've ever gone without talking about Invincible, so I'm glad it's back.
And what's interesting about that is in the opening issues of a series that came out a long time ago, so I'm going to spoil it fully, he kills all the Justice League parodies that exist in that universe.
They're a bit of a looser Justice League parody than a lot of the Justice League pastiches.
In that they occasionally make some of the characters black or female.
Well, there's no Justice League equivalent of Immortal, the Abraham Lincoln character.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I mean, it is a Justice League pastiche, but it's a little bit looser than some.
Yeah, fair enough.
There's not like Wondrous Woman and
No, there's the
Martian
Amazon lady.
Man
Well, there
follower.
was a Martian. Oh no, they're not directly cobbled. Yeah, like Martians are all alive in the Invincible universe. Mars is a whole thriving
Gets
planet.
taken over by brain parasites.
Yeah, they were creepy. They used to freak me out because, as we've mentioned before on this podcast, don't do parasites.
Yeah, but Omni-Man. Sorry, go on.
Sorry.
Omni-Man.
So Omni-Man, one of the interesting things about Omni-Man is he parodies what many artists used to think an older Superman would look like.
With a mustache.
He always has a mustache and the distinguished grey hair marks just below the temples.
That's true.
And he parodies all that, and excuse me, very many Infinite on Crisis Earth storylines and that kind of thing. They would often look at another world, Earth 2, where he had settled down with Lois Lane
and he'd grown a mustache,
started a family and grown a mustache and had grey hair just below the temples.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to see that. Anyway, he serves a rather vindictive, evil race of space aliens.
Yeah,
called the Viltrumites. They've all got mustaches.
They do, except for the women.
Except for the women.
They're just rapists.
Oh, yeah, shit, do you remember that?
Yeah, that was unpleasant.
Oh, and he had to keep the child, and he doesn't recognize the child.
She becomes an ally and stuff.
The
it's
child
weird.
becomes a real bad egg in later years because he was the product of a family that didn't want him.
Doesn't he turn around though and turn good? I can't remember.
It's hard because they did it at Game of Thrones at the end of Invincible, and they rushed it. They fucked it.
Ben, the Invincible universe is full of Supermen. Then Invincible himself is a Superman pastiche.
Yeah, Alan the alien.
Alan the alien is a bit of a Superman, a bit of a Martian Manhunter as well.
Bit of a Martian Manhunter, bit of everything.
But they all have the Superman power set is quite common in that universe.
Yeah, it's the go-to. Bulletproof is like a weaker Superman, a Superboy, if you will.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's all over that one. Others have been more creative with how they adapted the Man of Steel. So one of the ones that I enjoy is Blue Marvel from Marvel.
Yeah.
And originally he was created with a different, so almost exactly the same, except he has super intellect all of the time. He's a genius.
Yeah.
And what was interesting,
and he can shoot antimatter rather than lasers. But it's still just shooting a thing.
Much of a muchness.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things about that is when he originally appeared in the Marvel Universe, it was supposed to be during the 60s.
Yeah.
And he wore a full costume that covered his entire identity.
Yeah.
Because
guess what?
A black man saving white people would be scandalous.
Yeah, you forgot to say he was black.
Sorry. Oh yeah, Blue Marvel is sorry. I just don't see people that way, Michael.
Yeah, that's right.
Except that I do all the time and frequently put my foot in my mouth on this podcast. But he's black, obviously. And the interesting thing about that was they looked at America during the 50s and 60s when he would have been massively segregated against when he took off the costume, and is lauded almost universally when he has the costume on.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to kind of investigate really the way that was looked at the time, how race was so tense in America at that time. And I suppose he's quite a relevant character these days because all those racial tensions are still there.
And he's
haven't
back.
Gone away.
But he doesn't wear a mask anymore.
He doesn't wear a mask anymore because...
He's one of the most powerful superheroes currently, isn't he?
He is. He's ridiculously overpowered. He's Sentry level.
He's up there with Sentry and Hyperion.
Oh no, he's like top shelf superhero material.
Same as Alan.
Same as Alan. Yeah, Alan's ridiculous. Alan's
terrible name for superhero.
Alan is terrible name for superhero.
Speaking of,
yeah,
Marvel has Superman coming out their wazoo.
Yeah, they have quite a few. They've ripped them off a fair few times.
They did. Now, in fairness, DC has quite a few Marvel characters running around as well.
Absolutely. There's a Spider-Man one called Vibrate now, or Vibrance, or
the Vibrator.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is, but Vibe. Sorry, his name is Vibe.
Vibe is Cisco Ramon, isn't he?
No, I've gotten something wrong.
There's
a new one who can teleport, and he's basically Spider-Man with a few extra steps. I can't remember what it's called now. Brian Michael Bendis wrote him.
Classic Brian Michael. He's a big Super Spider-Man fan.
He's a big Spider-Man fan, but he doesn't work for that company anymore.
I see. Ben, that often happens, actually.
Yeah.
When people transfer across companies, they bring a pastiche of their old character.
Yep.
My favourite Superman pastiche in Marvel is Hyperion.
He's very silly.
There have been 6 or 7 versions of him, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah.
Because sometimes he's from an alternate universe. Sometimes he's from the same universe. Sometimes he's from another more different alternate universe. And sometimes he's from another more different alternate universe.
Yeah, so he's an interesting one for several reasons. First of all, when they rebooted his origin in one of these many origin reboots for Hyperion, his kind of standard one at the moment, or has he been rebooted again? I'm not sure. But anyway, he was taken in by the US government as opposed to Ma and Pa Kent, and raised as an asset to the United States government.
Well, that current one, the current one is a clone, I think.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, or maybe not like a direct biological clone. But
Is
some
this where
sort
Phil
of,
Coulson is
yeah,
bad egg?
Coulson, it's Coulson.
Coulson.
Actually, Coulson is how it's pronounced in the comics. So I'll let you have that.
Oh, really?
No, of course not.
Oh, really?
Look how smug that's made you.
Oh, really?
My favourite one is the Squadron Supreme one, obviously. Did you read the Squadron Supreme by Mark Grunwald?
I have a few issues of the Squadron Supreme in my house somewhere. I remember reading it and going, this is just lazy Justice League.
Well, Ben, you see, you're so millennial sometimes. When that was done, the idea of a Justice League pastiche was quite new.
I'd like to point out that I'm millennial all the time, simply by birth.
Yeah, I know. But the idea of a Justice League pastiche was quite new. And that was the first...
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And that was the first kind of like... I credit the Squadron Supreme with a lot of influence on the likes of Watchmen.
Oh, okay.
Now,
Wait, was the Squadron Supreme before Watchmen?
I think it was. Hold on, let me just check.
That's
this before
fascinating.
But
I didn't know this at all.
they did the whole the Squadron Supreme was the Justice League. Basically, you had Hyperion, who was Superman. You had Warrior Woman, or whatever the heck her name was, the Wizard, Dr. Spectrum.
The Wizard.
You can tell. But Ben, they lived in a world where they decided they were fed up with governments doing things wrong and with supervillains always coming back, and they decided to make a permanent change.
The Authority.
The Authority, Ben. The fathers, in many ways, of modern comics, and they thought they were doing bad things for a good reason, and so on and so forth. Very influential.
Seem to have spawned a whole bunch of tropes.
But then they died or something, or they got wiped out, and now Hyperion's back and he's Thor's mate. But I think
he's Thor's mate?
Yeah, him and Thor become best friends in the Jonathan Hickman End of the World arc.
Okay.
They become best mates because they're like both gods, and
Bezo mates.
everyone else can't really understand them.
Okay.
But then he dies, I think. And
Hyperion or Thor?
Both, because everyone dies, but then they got reborn in...
It sounds very Marvel.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm getting uncomfortable now. It's very Marvel. Very Marvel. Yeah, he's an interesting character. All the same sets. He's more powerful than Superman.
1985?
Near as I can tell. Yeah, just before. He's more powerful, near as I can tell, than Superman.
No one's more powerful than Superman, because anytime someone's more powerful than Superman, they just make Superman more powerful.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, fair enough. Speaking of Marvel rip-offs that have interesting power levels, Sentry is a big one. Kind of a pastiche in a very different way. A bit more like Captain Marvel.
There is a certain Captain Marvel-ness to him, the dual identity,
but
he's a triple identity in this case.
Oh, he's all kinds of broke. Yeah, I mean, he exists there as well. He was there for a long time. I'm not sure if there's anybody else from the Marvel universe that does that kind of thing.
What?
Superman rip-offs. Any other?
It's on the table.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, you lead into that one. That was
Gladiator,
your choice.
Ben.
That was your choice.
Look at him. Gladiator is, at least in costume terms, the most obvious Superman look. He's got the blue and red. He's got the yellow symbol.
The mohawk that Superman is famous for.
The purple skin. The smugness.
Classic smugness. What fascinates me about him is that his power level is directly related to how confident he is, which is traditionally how all men operate in the bedroom.
Very good.
In this particular case.
In the fucking World Cup.
In the fucking World Cup.
He was the 1979 fucking World Cup champion, actually.
Due to his high level of confidence.
Then he got the yips. And
that was it.
And then didn't never really recover.
And he fucked it, or didn't, as the case may be.
Ben, a lot of Marvel kind of Superman-style characters have a kind of confidence-based power weakness. There's what's his name? Gladiator. Kid Gladiator,
who's his son?
His teenage son, so he's never lacking in confidence. And Captain Britain.
Oh, Captain Britain. I forgot about Captain Britain. I found his run on
quite
Lady
feminine.
Thor very good. Thor when Jane Foster was Thor.
Thor was
I enjoyed watching the interaction between him and his gods and how they questioned fundamentalism and blah, 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 all
Yeah.
that stuff. He's an interesting parable. I think he's usually brought in as a big gun. Very recently executed by Hela. He got a big old sword shoved through his chest in the new Guardians of the Galaxy run. He's still alive, but he's just very weakened.
I think you've misunderstood what executed means there.
Yeah, sorry, misuse executed, but it was an attempted execution.
Right,
stabbed. Straight through the chest by a big old Hela sword. Hela is now dating Thanos and is bringing him back from the dead.
Oh, good.
Which makes a lot of sense if you think about it. Other notable ones that we've kind of seen throughout different things would be Apollo from The Authority.
He's Superman, but he's gay.
He's Superman, but he's gay and blonde.
Yeah, I read one thing that said Apollo was more akin to the Ray than to Superman, but that's bullshit post-fact nonsense because he's a Superman analog.
He's a solar-powered
Superman. He's Superman.
He's a superpowered.
He's a blonde Superman.
He does all the stuff. He's got rays that shoot out of his hands instead of his eyes.
No, they shoot out of his eyes.
Oh, okay, cool.
He's a Nietzschean Superman, Ben.
There you go. Yeah, that's fine.
You'd probably be happy with that.
Pretty good for him.
The Wildstorm
Nietzsche.
The Wildstorm universe had 4 Supermen
That's
pastiches.
a bit much, isn't it?
It had Apollo. It had the Majestic.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
Who
one.
was Superman if he was a kind of warlord.
Yeah.
A militaristic prick.
Okay.
It had the High, who was a kind of 1930s style Superman. He wore a little short cape. There was a bit of a Captain Marvel about him as well.
Touch of the Marvels.
And there was, what was his name? Extreme Maximus or something like that, who was much more of a Captain Marvel type character.
There you go. That's a lot.
Yeah, they had a lot.
That's a lot.
They had a lot of different Superman pastiches.
And then, of course, naturally, because Superman is kind of the big OG, you get a lot of edgelord parodies. For example, Garth Ennis' Homelander, who we've covered on the podcast last week.
Yeah, he's some
Homelander is a real rapey son of a bitch.
He's like Captain America and Superman combined into one.
Yeah, and it's real uncomfortable.
There's
so
also
much rape in that comic. I went back and read some, like, just
so unpleasant. Garth Ennis, very unpleasant. Garth!
Get away from that window, Garth.
Away from the window, Garth! The
soundproofing
really working.
It's taking away
the effect that I'm shouting out.
Yeah.
Garth! Oh, that's horrible.
That's horrible.
Do you remember Irredeemable?
Yeah, where they wrote these parodies where... Yeah, so there was 2. There was Irredeemable and then Incorruptible or something like that. And one was where the Superman of that world went bad and the main villain of that world, the Lex Luthor type villain of that world, went good.
Yeah.
To fill the void. So they swapped roles.
Yeah. That was quite good.
Yeah, that was quite interesting. Mark Miller took an L crack at it. He did Superior, I think was the name of his one.
Yeah.
Asian kid who could transform into a superhero, very much Captain Marvel, Superman-esque. It was no good because it was Mark Miller back when he was just doing whatever he wanted.
I thought that Irredeemable was Mark Miller, but it's not. It's Mark Waid.
It's Mark Waid. Classic Mark Waid.
Yeah.
Classic Mark Waid. There are all kinds of parodies of him as they go along because you can't... Everyone loves... Like I said, you get those edgelord parodies where people are like, "Oh, but what if he wasn't a good guy?" I mean, even DC itself,
Red Sun
has done. Red Sun is great. In fairness, Red Sun isn't.
You contradicted your own self.
No,
there,
I haven't.
You've contradicted your own self.
The edgelord editions make him into a psychotic kind of overpowered dickbag, whereas Red Sun takes him, exposes him to a different political way of thinking, and then sees what would happen there. He's not actually a dickbag in that. He's just an authoritarian.
Bruce Wayne's a dickbag, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He traps him and does a whole bunch of stuff. Ties up Wonder Woman. Fucking it's dirty stuff.
Is that Mark Miller again?
Yeah, I think so.
What's wrong with him?
He just fucks with Superman.
Mark Miller and Garth Ennis have some issues.
Lad. Imagine getting them in the tiny room. That'd be such an uncomfortable podcast. Yeah, anyway.
Is that everyone, Ben?
I think, it's not. It's definitely not everyone, Michael.
Covered everyone. It's
definitely not everyone. But if I had my way, it would be. But it's not. Just see if there's anything that's left on my list. No, there's not. We're good. List free since 93. Have we missed any major Superman parodies that we could hear about? I think from other comics.
Astro City. What's his name?
Astro City, I can't remember.
Superior? Supreme?
Supreme.
No, Supreme wasn't Supreme the guy who can't draw feet guy.
Oh, Leafield.
He was Leafields, wasn't he?
He could be. It's hard to keep up.
Who was the Astro City Paragon? Paragon?
Paragon would be a suitable name for that kind of thing. Yeah,
you
go on.
Spin your wheels there.
I'm going to spin my wheels. Did we miss anybody? Did we miss anything that we could have talked about? Do you have any alternate types of Superman from the DC world that you like in a similar vein to Red Sun? Let us know. Bizarro's great. That's just a funny character. Let us know down below and tell us what you think. If we missed out on anybody else. Do you think there's any good Godzilla films? Let us know down below. I don't think there are. but we could be wrong there. And we're far from the authority on all things comic books, so let us know.
Ah, very good. The authority Samaritan.
That's a terrible name. Anyway, that's us for this week. As always, we are on iTunes, we are on YouTube, we are on Spotify, we are on SoundCloud. And now you can get even more bang for your buck from the Michael and Benjamin's podcast and Tiny Room Productions by listening to our other podcast, Collecting Issues. Get ready, because we're going to launch the next title tomorrow, so you'll hear from us about what we're covering next
Tell
week.
them about our website,
Issues. We also have a brand new website on Squarespace. We spent money on it, so go look at it, please. It is seomrabeag.com with no spaces. SEOM or A for anyone that doesn't speak Gaelic. BEAG with no space. And then you can go check out all our stuff there, where we give you a little tour of the tiny room soon. That's up and coming. You can check out all our different podcasts and all the things that we're getting up to. So yeah, and as always, you can check out the Instagram to get in touch with us as directly as possible. Okay, that's it from us. Bye.
Bye.